The 1950 Italian Grand Prix was held at the Autodromo Nazionale di Monza on the 3rd of September, and it was the 7th and final race of the 1950 Formula 1 season. The previous 6 races of the season had been dominated by the Alfa Romeos, especially Juan Manuel Fangio, leader of the championship at that point, and Nino Farina. The Alfa duo had won every race that season. However, coming to Monza, teammate Luigi Fagioli was second in the championship. Despite being less competitive than his teammates, he had suffered less issues throughout the season, leaving him with a shot at the championship in the final race. The leading team had also signed 2 more drivers for its home race: Italian drivers Piero Taruffi and Alfa Romeo test driver Consalvo Sanesi as 4th and 5th drivers. Moreover, Alfa Romeo would be debuting their new 159 Alfetta, an improved version from the 158, especially on the chassis. Ferrari turned up to their home race with a new car, the 375 model, following the disappointment of the 275, which didn't help the Italian team to close the gap with the Alfas. The 275 performance was in fact so poor that Enzo Ferrari had decided to withdraw from the previous race in France. The 375 had a positive debut before the Monza race. However, Villoresi was injured and was unable to participate in the Italian race, and would be replaced by Dorino Serafini. Serafini's racing career had been for the most part involved in motorcycles, but he had also become a test driver for Ferrari. Ferrari had high hopes for the 375, as it would also be the base for their 1951 campaign, and the team was confident that the new car would close the gap to their main rivals Alfa Romeo. The Maseratis made up the majority of the entry list for the Italian Grand Prix. Louis Chiron and Franco Roll would still be driving for the Works team, Greg Parnell and David Murray for the secondary team Scuderia Ambrosiana, and many other privateers turned up in Monza as well. Following the race on home soil, the French team Talbot Lago decided to stop their development and involvement in Formula 1 as a Works team. Nonetheless, several drivers turned up to Monza with their own Talbot Lago, including the former Works team drivers Louis Rosier and Pierre Levet. Without the Talbot Lago team, Simca Gordini became the major French team on the grid. The little team had enjoyed success in Formula 2 during the 1950 season, and came close to a podium finish in the French Grand Prix. The team's lead drivers, Manzon and Maurice Trintignant, would be in action for the team at Monza. For the first time in the season, the Alfa Romeos did not dominate the qualifying session. In fact, Alberto Ascari on his new Ferrari 375 was less than 0.2 of a second slower than pole-sitter Juan Manuel Fangio. Many believed the Ferrari would have a strong race pace, but would still struggle to match the Alfas on a single lap. Therefore, this result was reason for optimism for Ferrari looking at the race, but also looking at the start of the 1951 season only a few months away. However, this result at the top of the grid still meant that Alfa Romeo had taken pole position in every race of the 1950 Formula 1 season it took part in. The remaining Alfas of Farina, Sanesi and Fagioli would qualify in 3rd, 4th and 5th respectively, ahead of the second Works Ferrari of Dorino Serafini in P6 and the last Alfa of Piero Taruffi in P7. The first non-Alfa and non-Ferrari to qualify was the Talbot Lago of Raymond Sommer in P8, 10 seconds off the pole lap of Fangio, further demonstrating the gap between the two Italian teams and the rest of the field. At the start of the race, Farina took the lead from pole-sitter Juan Manuel Fangio, and Sanesi on the other Alfa managed to get past Ascari on Ferrari as well. The race quickly became a two-team race, with the Alfas and Ferraris pulling away from the rest of the field. The Alfa Romeo of Sanesi was the first of the leading group car to retire on lap 11 due to engine failure, and 3 laps later Ascari took the lead from Farina, who however was able to retake the lead a couple of laps later. Ascari was still right behind Farina when his engine failed and had to retire from his and Ferrari's home race. However, the Italian driver was able to rejoin the race by taking over the other Ferrari, till that moment driven by Serafini, since in those days he was allowed to share cars between teammates and rejoin the race in 6th. At the front, Farina was leading, with Fangio driving in a comfortable 2nd place, which would be enough to clinch the world title. However, only 2 laps after Ascari's first retirement, Fangio suffered his own engine failure. Just like Ascari had done a couple of laps earlier, Fangio also took over one of his teammates' car, Taruffi's, and rejoined the race. But a few laps later, Fangio's new car had an engine failure as well, forcing him to retire from the race for good. With Fangio out of the games, Farina cruised to the race win and the championship. He was joined on the podium by the Ferrari duo of Ascari and Serafini in 2nd and Fagioli in 3rd. The Alfa Romeos had shown their supremacy throughout the first Formula 1 World Championship, with its 3 drivers finishing in the top 3 in the championship.